Right. Welcome, ladies. So I'm Rebecca. I am just hopping in, subbing for Laura while she is out enjoying Disneyland with her family. This is only my second accountability call. So even though I'm quote running it, I am absolutely open to feedback. My understanding is we'll just kind of go through and everyone talk about what they're working on this week, what they need accountability on, crowdsourced questions, etc. Who would like to start? Anyone?
I'll start in a second. I'm just getting set up here.
All right, no worries. I know you're discussing. Go for it.
What I have going on this week is just mostly like retreat planning. Finalizing, trying to come up with, what are you doing, you monkey? Trying to like finalize pricing and stuff. It's really like my main focus right now. It's at the end of May, so we don't have that much time to really like.
Would it be helpful right now for you to describe what it covers, where it's at and everything, and to ask us questions regarding pricing? Because I've done a lot of retreats and I know that for me, it's sometimes you need that validation from other people about value in order to actually charge what sometimes you're afraid to charge.
Yeah, so it's going to be, what are you doing? It's going to be like obviously like health and wellness based. But with like a pampering aspect to it. Like I myself actually haven't done a retreat, but I have heard like a lot of people doing retreats, and it always like, I feel like they're always missing that kind of like pampered aspect. So this is going to be like, we're going to do some yoga. I'm going to take the girls through like a boot camp workout. We're going to obviously have like a focus on nutrition. And then like the Saturday afternoon is just going to be, we're doing like some mindset work as well. And then the Saturday afternoon, it's a gong show here right now. Oh dear. Saturday afternoon is all like dedicated to just like pampering the girls. Like I have, one of my really good friends is an amazing makeup artist. So she's coming like over to the island. She's gonna do a workshop for the girls, like kind of how to like do like glam makeup in like 20 minutes or less. And then we have a mobile spa coming in for facials, manicure, pedicures. We're gonna do a photo shoot after once everybody's been all pampered and stuff. Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking into like hiring a float plane to have everybody flown in instead of taking the ferry over. Where is it?
Sorry, what's the location and what's the dates?
It's called Saturno Island. So it's one of the Gulf Islands here in Vancouver. And then it is May 31st to June 2nd.
So is that how many days, how many nights?
It's 2 nights. Friday night, Saturday night, and then home Sunday like afternoon.
But you can still call it a 3-day, 2-night retreat.
Yeah.
Like anybody, and do you have an idea of like, what do you need to break even? And please, anybody jump in. I feel like I'm just.
I haven't, I'm still waiting for some quotes from like the spa company and stuff before I kind of like work that all in. But like the float plane itself is like $2,800. So, and like myself and my partner who's doing this with me, like we're going over Thursday to make sure everything's up. So we need to make sure like our travel costs are covered, like our fees for like the 24 hours before are covered. And then of course like meals and stuff are included for all the girls. So,
and you need to make profit and you got to plan in the fact that you've got all this planning time. One thing, and I can send you a copy of this if it would be helpful, is often people get freaked out by like the sticker price. So you want to show what the value is. And let me just share my screen really quickly. So we were doing this for Brand Camp where I put in like, so here, general admission and VIP, I put in what it includes.
Yeah.
And then what is the value if someone paid a la carte for that price? So like just the retreat, just for food, just for photography, just for makeup, etc. And then it shows like, what would be the value of this? And of course we're not charging the quote value because they're getting a discount for going. But that can be helpful when you're explaining to someone what they're getting.
Do you put that on your website, or if you have some like price objections or whatever, then
so currently we don't have pricing on our website. We do it by they basically send an email in to get like a pricing request. Even though we are just in the process of changing our website for our next retreat, we will have it included.
Right.
But so far we have a letter. In fact, what I can do is I can put down to give you both the format, value versus cost, and then also our price inquiry response.
Okay.
So you have it as a template.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, because I'm like torn between putting it on on the site and just having like somebody like inquire about the price.
What's your email address?
hello@KathieVandermeer.com.
Okay.
We'll take it.
Rebecca, so your next brand camp will have the price on the site.
That's I mean, we haven't decided indefinitely. That's kind of the plan. We're relaunching our website Wednesday, and I don't think we'll have it up there yet. But I don't know when we get to my part, we'll ask that. What do you guys think? When you go to a website,
like Chris and Lori Harder's like latest Mastermind, like they had pricing on there and then like broken down like what the value is and stuff. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I mean, it's gonna be like the retreat's about, I would say like probably like $2,500.
Right. Absolutely. And the other option is you can always do where almost like an email capture where you can do, put your information in here to get more information and pricing, but then you've actually captured their info. So you're not losing someone who may look.
Well, I have like a waiting list right now because we only have 10 spots. So I've been like hyping it up. Like it's going to sell fast. Like get on the waiting list if you want to be the first to know. So I'm collecting emails already and I have about 20 or so.
And you said, so your email address is
hello@KathieVandermeer.com. I put it in the chat.
Okay. I'll send this over to you.
So yeah, like I can definitely send that out to like the people who have.
And that's also where like if they have a special, we require them to email us because, sometimes we have referrals pricing or different pricing. So I will always want to put that in the email and like customize it based upon who the person is and how they got introduced.
Right.
So I'll send that to you.
Do you do like affiliate stuff?
We haven't before, but I'm definitely open to doing that.
Yeah. I just started doing that for boot camp and it's been really good. I don't know if probably won't do it this year for this retreat, but if it grows and like we can expand, then it might be something to think about. I don't know.
Do you need anybody else to help? I mean, I just sent you that info. Do you need anyone else to help on that to move that forward in your business this week?
For the retreat, no, I think it's just a matter of like tying up all the last details. But I would love like a plug or two about online boot camp if that's possible.
Do you want to post that in the group?
Sure. Yeah. Because we just switched over to just switched from like a 6-week format over to a like monthly membership, kind of what like Lindsay's doing. And so it's kind of been like I have had a hard time kind of switching my mindset from like promoting a 6-week to having to constantly like be on the ball to promote like every day. Because if I notice like if I'm not, then I notice a huge like drop in enrollment. So I'm looking into, or just throw them, that's fine. You need a nap, don't you, miserable child? I'm looking into like collaborating with some like bloggers and stuff to see like kind of help promote boot camp. I don't know, have any of you ever done that? Like kind of linked up with influencers or bloggers and offered like, full access to your program or whatever in exchange for them to like post about it? That makes sense.
So are you giving them personally access or their network?
I would give them access.
I think go for it because it doesn't cost you anything, but it's a huge value add.
Yeah.
For you.
And then like I would give them access and then they would get a affiliate link and whoever wants to enroll, I can give them that link and then they would get like a kickback from.
I would talk to Lindsay about that. I think she's looking into doing that. And I told her that I thought she should based on a bunch of bloggers that I follow that are doing some other people's boot camps, and they're really talking about it and promoting it.
Yeah.
So you might just reach out to her and see if she's had any success or what she's doing in that realm. Because her and I were accountability partners last month, and that's one of the things that I suggested that she do based off of influencers that I was following that are just connecting with like online type boot camp stuff.
Right. That's a good idea.
Kathie, I posted a site to the chat, Melissa Motion. This is a local person, literally she's like 2 blocks from my house. She partnered up with an organic food store in our area, and I think they only have like 2 spots left. But on her website, it has all the pricing and everything is listed there in case you wanted to take a peek at that as a sample. That's, as far as I have no idea how to do it, but it's working well for her because they're almost sold out.
Wow. I will take
and
cool. Thank you. All right, I think that's all I have.
Okay, perfect. Who would like to go next? I heard a me, but I don't know.
I think that's Mason, actually.
No worries.
I can
Okay,
go next.
go for it.
I'm about ready to launch. So 2 parts is email collection. So I am doing a quiz that will be going out hopefully in the next, I think, week. I'm just finishing it. But that is going to be an email capture leading up to kind of I'm still working on a name, and I'll put this in the group for some thoughts. And I know, Rebecca, you and I chatted, and some type of collective. It's a mastermind, but it's so much more here, Denver, local. It's going to be for women. It's going to have a monthly event, and then kind of the mastermind trainings and accountability and stuff like that behind it. So kind of a blend of a retreat, but it's a monthly event, and then a blend of a mastermind. So kind of the 2 in 1, and here very local to Denver. So that's what I'm working on, is getting that stuff launched and emails going and stuff like that, so I can start promoting in May. So I just need some accountability to get it finished.
Perfect. So you just want to like a date and a weekly check-in, or?
Yes.
And what is your date again that you want to have it done by?
I'd like to have the quiz done by next week so I can start collecting emails, because I really want to start promoting the launch of it starts in September. So I really want to start talking about that.
No worries. Hey, mom's building empires. This is how it works.
Start promoting it in May. I'd like applications to kind of start coming in early June.
Okay. All right. So anyone else working on anything quiz related for their website, for a program, anything? I'm working on one for our brand camp website that I need to get done. So if you want to be accountability partners on that, I need to do it in like the next 48 hours though.
Yeah. Well, mine's almost done. I'm just tweaking. I have the answer. I'm working backwards. So I have all the answers. It's just now putting all the questions in there. So I'm close.
Okay, perfect. So you, maybe you and I can sync up on that, and we can send each other's in the next day.
Yes, that would be great.
Anything else,
Erica,
in the group? Oh, go ahead.
I just have a suggestion for somebody for you to kind of look at. So there is a group in Denver that's a mastermind group called Denver Dames, DAMES. And Megan Contour runs that. She used to be part of like Service and some other local groups. I don't know what her pricing is. I believe they have monthly events. I haven't been able to go, but just to kind of see maybe like, are you a lot higher than her? Are you a lot lower than her? Are you offering the same type of stuff? Are you different? Are you the same?
No, I didn't know.
Just for somebody that I know that's in that space. Now, like I said, I haven't gone to any of her events, but I do believe they do something monthly. But I don't know if they do a retreat, but it is very like heavily focused on masterminding with women. And I don't know if it's like 6 figures. I don't know any of that, but you might check them out just to kind of see what's already here, so you can differentiate yourself and offer something different.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. That's why I'm like, why doesn't anything like this exist? But I haven't heard about it. So that's super helpful. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for you? You're so short and sweet.
Now I have a question for you. So in regards to the mastermind, how many people do you want to have in your group?
About 40 women.
Okay.
So it will be one monthly event. It'll run from September to December. One monthly event here locally, and then one monthly training. And so each month will have a theme of what the event will tie into the theme of what we're learning.
Okay.
Or what we're up leveling our business with.
Okay. And like, I don't know, I feel like in the group, I do everything old fashioned way. I do like face-to-face networking events and stuff like that in Philadelphia. But whenever I run any kind of workshop or class, I tend to, the base source of me getting people is the initial invitation, which is an email or whatnot. But then if I go to a networking event or I'm just out and about it, whatever, people always say to me, what's new and what's happening? And then I'll say, oh, I'm having an event, blah, blah, blah. You should come to that. And then the ones that are the most successful and the highly attended ones are usually the ones where there's 1 to 4 key influencers there that bring 3 or 4 people with them. So it's like finding those influencers in your town, because it is local, right? This is going to be a face-to-face one, not just an internet one. So it's actually getting out there a little bit more frequently, and everywhere and anywhere that people are asking you, you know, what's new, what's going on, you just say, we're looking for people to enroll in this class, and then you can start the interview process to get those people in there. Like I'm thinking of, and I'll send the intro to you without a doubt, a friend of mine moved out to Denver, and she is orthodontist, but she owns the practice and she's expanding and trying to meet new friends, and she would be perfect for your group, and getting her and a couple of her friends and then one of those, and just keep like, you know, spidering out that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might help, right?
Yes. That's awesome. That would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Erica, one other suggestion that I have, and maybe this isn't, I know for me, like if I'm looking at something like that, I would want to know the dates. So I would want to know, and ideally for me, they would all be laid out before I signed up. And I would be able to look at my calendar and say, okay, I know I'm available. Most of those dates, I'm going to plug them in through the whole month. I mean, through the rest of the year, and then make sure they're there. One of the things that it's hard for me even with this mastermind is how the dates come later, and there's not like consistency. So with my organization, there's only 2 of us. And if I have a meeting with a donor, that has to come before a mastermind, unless it's already on my calendar. So
yes, I was going to have all the dates of the 4 events in the information. So people, because you don't want to commit to something like this if you can't attend the events. Half the value is in the events. So yes, I will absolutely have those in there.
All right, anyone else? And anybody know anybody in Denver they can plug her into? No.
Erica, you and I can just communicate, because obviously I'm here. And so once you have your stuff, just send it to me and I'll see who I can connect you to. There is a huge influencer. Her name is Julie Bauer, and she runs Paleo OMG. And she has like 350 some thousand followers, but she only works with people now who pay her. So I don't know if you want to pay somebody to help get people there.
Okay, something to think about, I guess. Because I only am looking for 40 women. I'm still going back and forth on the price, but I'm looking to keep it small so we can actually do some really cool high-end VIP events. I mean, this is not just like networking at a local restaurant.
Yeah.
So.
All right, who would like to go next?
I can go. So, can you guys hear me? Like on my screen, it doesn't necessarily show. So I just want to make sure.
Yes.
So the thing that I'm really working on is trying to get funding for the house that we will eventually purchase. We just got a $75,000 grant last week. We have to raise the matching funds, but I'm also looking for corporate sponsors. So I put a list, and some of you have nicely responded about potentially having contacts at those corporations. So really that's my focus. For the next week is trying to get contacts into those corporations, somebody that's either like a VP or in charge of community relations, or somebody who is in charge of their community grants, like a true decision maker, not somebody that just works there.
How strong is your LinkedIn page? Like, do you have a ton of followers there or a lot of connections?
I would have to go back and check. I mean, I definitely am on there some. Christy, I would say that like I'm not on there a ton. Like lately, the last 2 months, I've really been focusing on growing Instagram, stuff like that. I do post on there some and get engagement, but I'm definitely not like focused on there a ton.
Anytime one of my clients wants an intro to someone or something, I usually tell them to go on my LinkedIn page and see who I am connected with, and then I'll make the intro there. But I don't know who I know until they tell me, and I don't have the time to go through all of my contacts. But if the person wants the intro, they're, feel free to look through any of my stuff. But for yours, if you can just simply spend a couple hours on your own LinkedIn and just search the companies and then see who knows someone there, and then you'll know the exact connection if it's worth reaching out or not. Right.
And I have done some of that. And some of it's not seeing someone directly connected in the first like 2 or 3 layers per se. And I mean, honestly, like I also see that there are definitely people who are not active on LinkedIn who are really successful and may have really great connections, but they don't spend a lot of time on there. And I think that that's like people that are my age and older and different things.
But just use it as your map, as your starting point, so that you can call someone and say, hi, I see that you're friends with the social responsibility partners for Comcast. Can you make the intro? So I wouldn't reach out to them on LinkedIn. Like I don't check my LinkedIn maybe twice a week. But if I need something, I'll use it as my Rolodex to go in and find someone and then reach out directly. So,
and I have spent some time on there. It hasn't totally been fruitful. But like, I also know like people like Erica used to work in marketing for the Broncos. So the connections she may have may not all be on LinkedIn.
Right.
And different connections that people have may not necessarily be on LinkedIn.
Right.
And that's kind of why I put the list there, because if somebody knows somebody that's an executive at UPS, that would be pretty easy for them to figure out versus me going through all of their contacts.
Yeah.
So I'm doing both things and we're doing a lot of work, but if somebody knows somebody that's a CEO or in charge of community relations at a major company, that is what I'm asking.
And are you only looking for Denver area or anyone?
So it could be any major corporation, but they need to have a presence in Colorado, because if they don't have a presence, they won't fund us. So obviously like FedEx, their headquarters isn't here. I believe it's in Memphis, but they do a lot of volunteering here. So it's not off the table. So, just their person that makes a decision on a grant may be in Memphis, but they also typically have allocated funding for volunteers and different things in the communities that they're in.
Is this something that would be helpful to like have us all do a Facebook post that you could kind of write a template for, and then we can tweak it and post it?
No, I think that's a little bit harder because this is really a specific, like, does somebody know somebody? And people may not, you may not have anybody in your network that is a CFO or a CEO. So I think it's kind of a hard ask to put out there, like to general Facebook. More of just, hey, does anybody, if they, thought in their network, do they know someone that is, connected to one of these companies? And sometimes I've been working to get into Legos for over a year, and I reached out to somebody on Instagram and that was local in Denver, not on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And he's like, oh, I'm not the right person, but here's the right person. So, that could be something too.
Anyone else? Any questions?
What's the house for?
So I run a nonprofit, and the purpose of, so right now I'm like in my little tiny space in my co-shared office world, but we can't have as big of impact or have volunteers be more active. So we want to run our programs out of there. We have statewide a toy shop program and a statewide backpack program. And then we work with families one-on-one through our Kinsey's Kids program. And we have 111 children that have been a part of that program over the last 10 years. So we do monthly events for them. We help them apply for school if the kids need that help. We help research different things. We help the parents look for resources, depending on what their needs are. Every family that we work with has their own special needs. And so really crafting a space for them to come. And then we also have people who want to volunteer on a monthly basis and sometimes on a weekly basis. And it creates a really a barrier for us to engage those volunteers because we don't have a space. And that also creates a barrier to us for not having corporations be able to volunteer, which usually when corporations volunteer, that comes with money. And so we will have a house where we run our programs out of, where we engage volunteers, where we run our board meetings, our youth advisory board meetings, and our families can come to receive services.
Okay. You're not around on Saturday, are you, to do a call with someone? Do you have time this Saturday?
It would just depend. I have to go to Fort Collins for an event for our families that live in Fort Collins, but depending on the time, we could talk about it. But I just have to go to Fort Collins because we have an event up there.
All right. So that everybody's on this, I'm going to put in my cell phone number. Text me directly. I told you I would do this before and I neglected it, but I'm going to be with the CEO of Legacy Foundation all day Saturday, literally just hanging out, and him and I can call you and he can download his brain to you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Amazing. All right. Who would like to go next? Jessica. Sausha, Christy, Bonnie. Anyone?
I can go next.
Go for it, ladies.
This is like the first one that I've been able to hop on, so you'll have to I've been listening, but you'll have to kind of guide me what you guys have been doing.
Just basically, what are you working on? What is your kind of your action items for the next week? And where can we help? Do you have questions, accountability partners, etc.?
Okay. So for the next week, what I'm doing is I'm going to be hosting 2 confidence master classes, one Wednesday night and one Saturday morning. So basically just trying to get as many people into this free webinar as I can. I need to rewatch the training from last month too, to kind of get a little more insight on what that guy's training was and how to kind of brand it or whatever, but basically record it and use it for a sales funnel. So that's my biggest thing in just getting it out there, to gain more email contacts and things of that nature. So, for those of you, and I've done webinars before, I haven't done it in the way that they had explained it in the training, like to record it and use it for, ongoing sales funnels. So for those of you who have done webinars, like what worked well, what didn't work well, I've always had a lot of interest in my webinars. But I wish I probably would have done them a little bit differently so that I could repurpose and reuse the content, which I haven't done in the past. So that's my biggest thing.
Rebecca, if you're talking, you're on mute, or if you're on the phone. Sorry. I saw your mouth moving.
No, sorry. I was just responding to a text. Everyone's good.
So I guess, yeah, if you have any feedback on what worked well or what didn't work well for any webinars that you've hosted or attended, that's basically what I'm working on in the next week. Just gaining more email contacts, more people in general. And then I'm going to upsell them to like a 90-day group program that I have. So I'll have that, but that's what I got.
I just, I don't know anything about webinars, but I just had a friend that has been utilizing webinars and just in general online launches. And let me find, there was a book, and you can download the audio, that she just said she highly recommended ordering. Let me share a picture with it, and then you can just write it down on Amazon. And she also is someone that she wasn't in Chris Harder's mastermind, but he's mentored her on kind of some of her launch stuff. So it's right here. It's called An Internet Millionaire's Secret Formula to Sell Almost Anything Online, Build a Business You Love, and Live the Life of Your Dreams.
Jeff Walker.
Called, yeah, Jeff Walker Launch. And I just ordered one as well.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's helpful, but I would just be super interested because I want to do webinars as well. And I would be interested to see your process and like what works and what doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, I've done them before, and it's just, anyways, what were you going to say, Kathie?
Oh, I was just going to say that I haven't done webinars either, but I'm like looking into utilizing them. I know Tess and Lindsey are doing them. Have you chatted with them or reached out to them to see what's like working best and what they would recommend?
No, I haven't, not yet.
I know Lindsay's in the process of like recruiting for her masterclass. I don't know when that is, but
Okay.
And then I think Tessa just did hers. I don't know, it might be worth a shot to reach out to them.
Okay.
Webinars are like fairly new for most of us.
Oh, really? That was like my main source of people into my program last year was just through webinars. Yeah, and just converting them at the end. And you just have, like what I did was once people enrolled, I had like an email series that kind of, you know, prepped them for what was coming, recorded the replay and sent it out, things like that. But I haven't done it in the sense of using it for like a sales funnel and like continuous ads. So that's what part really interests me. So that's why I want to do things a little bit differently where I can repurpose my content, because before all of my webinars were just live. Like I would just like hop on like we are right now. And I'd be like, all right, guys, ask me questions, you know? And obviously there was a theme to it, but those went over really, really well. So I want to continue with that, but have a little bit more structure so that it can be reused and repurposed and create those marketing and sales funnels and all that good stuff. So
one thing is using Instagram too to, you know, if you're going to do a story about your webinar or plug it, is use the little ask me a question box. Instead of asking questions, say, put your email in below to get notified for the webinar. And then just, you can literally do that on your story every single day, some variation of it to start grabbing emails before it even starts.
That's a great idea.
okay.
Because I've done that for like promotions and things, and it's worked pretty effectively. I mean, you may not get a ton, but it's free.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's where majority of like the podcast and Instagram are like where majority of the people enroll for the webinars. So, but I like that. I've only used the chat box or the question box for questions, not for dropping emails. So I like that.
I feel like there could be like subgroup accountability groups for launching a podcast, launching a webinar. Should write that down. Okay.
I'll keep you guys updated on how it goes.
On the podcast stuff, and it's so helpful to like be able to share kind of resources and best practices.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I may be jumping on the podcast bandwagon. We'll see in the next 2 weeks. So put me down if you're going to have that.
Do it.
Perfect. There's a podcast post, just put in there, like just comment in the post that you want to be notified for anybody. It's right now, it's mostly Nicoletta and myself. Lonnie, I think you talked to the guy as well, didn't you? Didn't you talk to him? Yeah. There's like a guy. I have a guy. No, Kayla wasn't really hot on her guy. And then I got a quote from, oh gosh, who was it? Who's in Florida? I'm blanking right now on her name. This is mommy brain. Anyway, someone else that has one. And I got a quote, and her guy was super passionate, but the cost was like $2,400 to launch for the first 12 episodes. And I'm like, oh, it's a lot. So I was introduced to someone that's the editor of a friend of mine's podcast who's in the Philippines, and met with him. And he's just such a professional, like he's a professional graphic designer that also does YouTube and podcasting. And I don't have it. He doesn't per episode cost, but it ranges. And this is everything. This is editing down to, he takes out the ahs and the ums. Which is nobody else does. So he does ridiculous editing, all of your intros, outros, etc., all of your audiograms, like has your graphics for each one, show notes, uploading, and it ranges between $40 and $100 per episode.
Seriously? Okay. And he's on, you tagged him in a post?
I put him in there. And just to give you like example, like we've been going back and forth. I actually, sorry about this ladies, but he didn't even have a setup fee. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but you've been on 3 hours of calls with me, walking me through exactly what I need to do, answering my questions, doing my graphics. I'm like, you need a setup fee. And because they make so little money, I'm like, just $200 for a setup fee is so reasonable. So I told him to do that. I'm like, I'm paying you this. You need to be charging it. But like, this is the graphic he did. This was like our 5th iteration, but he's so talented. And he literally took like I'm relaunching my website. He went in and took my website and like just made beautiful graphics. And does all the stuff, but he's so reasonable. So he's about a quarter to a third of what the other guys cost, and is incredibly responsive. Like I always get a response the same day. He's in a different time zone is the only thing. So I have to chat with him in the evenings, but just so organized. His name is Dasan.
Okay, I'm going to find this post. All right, thank you.
And I talked to like 4 different people, and he was not just the most professional, but also his pricing is so significant. His pricing is so much better, and what he gives is so much better.
Awesome.
So, and
Thank
you can do YouTube editing if you decide to ever actually like put the YouTube versions online.
That's my next. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I just like ordered some of the equipment so that I can start like videoing while I do it. Cause I just sit here and like podcast anyways. I'm like, why am I not recording this and making it a video, versus just uploading a picture of my face with the sound behind it. So I love that. Thank you.
And because he's a graphic designer, I asked him, I said, hey, could I give you some other graphic stuff to design, since you obviously get me and you get my brand, like other than just podcasts? And he's like, yeah. And his price is, I want to say he's like $12 an hour, you guys. He's so stupidly cheap. It actually might even be less. I told him he knitted up his rates when he first quoted me. I'm like, this is insulting to you as a professional.
Wait until we're all on, then he can.
Sorry. No, but like no, his original price was less than that. I'm like, you need to make it $10 an hour, because everyone else out there is quoting 50 to 80.
Right.
So
I agree.
yeah. It's still an absolute clearance deal for phenomenal. Okay, perfect. Anything else, Sausha?
No, that's everything. That's awesome. Thank you. That was very helpful.
Perfect.
I got to hop off, ladies, but thank you so much. I appreciate everything. I'm learning so much from you all. Thank you. Bye.
Who else would like to go next? We also, looks like we have a non-video participant. Oh, Jessica, she already. Okay. Already went. All right. It's your turn. Oh, here, I'll unmute you. There you go. You're unmuted.
I just, to tag on to that, I just spent time with your guy yesterday. He is so responsive. So he worked around my schedule, and we chatted yesterday morning, and then last night he sent me the bullet point of everything I need to do. But I guess some of my questions, I have 2 questions, and you guys talked about it briefly, but do you guys know what's going on with this accountability group? And then my second question is around Instagram and building your following.
I do not know. I am not the person about that. I don't know about the accountability group, because I totally missed that. So I only figured out this morning when Brittany was like, told me that this is something different than with this call I'm hosting. Anyone else?
So yes, I know. So last week, I think Friday, Hillary Jane put a new list, and there are 5 groups with 4 accountability partners, except for my group has 5. Okay. And the thought is that you connect with your group of 4 people, and you set a weekly call of 20 minutes, and that you each spend 5 minutes talking about kind of what we're talking about right now. So that's different than this call that's done every Monday. Laura just put these calls together so anyone who wanted to hop on could. But now we have 4 or 5, depending on your group, accountability partners from now until a retreat.
Okay, got it. It was confusing because I sent a message to my group, but it wasn't clear on whether or not I just was a little confused by it. And then I saw like the post from the previous month groups posted twice, and so I was all kinds of confused.
Yeah, okay. I think it has been confusing, but that's my understanding is that these groups are the groups for the next, I guess, until May, when we all get together.
Okay, got it. So then my kind of question for you ladies is building your Instagram. I've looked at the blueprint and some of those things, but so for me, I have my podcast, my blogs, and my book all kind of launching at the same time, which is midsummer. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if you guys use like content builders where it posts for you or it suggests content, or what do you guys kind of do? Because I kind of feel like I'm just kind of a mishmash of all over the place, but not really posting relevant stuff. So
first of all, I hired a company to like engage for me, not comment, but just like follow other accounts, because I just don't have time to like spend that day. So for $50 a month, this company, like every day, 7 days a week, they're constantly engaging, and my following has like almost doubled in the, I don't know, 2 or 3 months that I've used them. So that's an option. Super affordable. And it's like real people. It's not like the bots.
Quick question on that, Kathie. So they're commenting for you as well?
No, they're not commenting. I didn't want something that was going to be commenting for me, because I like to like have that engagement with my following. But they'll go through, like I had to do some hashtag research, and then you have to fill out this form when you start with them. So like what your like ideal account would look like who your ideal like followers are, clients, blah, blah, blah. So they've gone through and they've like followed relevant hashtags for me, and they're like constantly liking and following different accounts. So I've done that. And then I try to like plan my posts. I've stopped posting like to my feed every day, because I felt like it was just like, one, overwhelming, and two, like I find that most people engage more in stories. I don't know if it's just my following or if everybody finds that, but I've done like through the blueprint course, the Instagram module, I've done Jenna Kutcher's like Instagram course, and then the last, like in the marketing mastery, the last call I think was a little bit about Instagram. Kind of finding like 5 or 6 like topics that you can rotate through. So for mine, it's obviously fitness, mindset, family, my kids, like more specifically. I say that I'm like a part-time single mom. My husband travels like 50% of the time. So I have content that I post about that. Like, so not everything is just like brand specific. It's more, I found that if I've had like a more kind of broad like content, then it opens it up for like more than just like fitness interested followers. Like I've got moms that follow me, and then I've got fitness people, other like, you know, or other women that have like spouses that travel, things like that.
Kathie, do you mind sharing that company? Because I would say I'm paying a lot more than that, and I don't feel like I'm getting as much. So I'd love to.
Yeah. It's called SoGrow. I'll take it. I'll find SoGrow. I think it's SOGRO.
Yeah, if you have an affiliate link, post it in the group. Lonnie, so one of the things that we teach a lot at Brand Camp is it's called Knowables. And if you want, I have a couple of videos I can send you on it. I have one that's a little bit more network marketing focused, but it's still all the same takeaways I can send. But it's about content creation. And it's the idea that, one, really figuring out like what, like she was saying, what are those topics? So what are the important topics that you're already living? And how do you have those show up, and how do you talk about them? Because what those really are is their connection points for your audience, your, you know, ideal client avatar, etc. And then how do you organize based upon those knowables in a way that is kind of systematic? So it's not like, okay, you can have your Motivation Monday, Tip Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, whatever. You can have themes for the day or even a theme for the month. But how do you take these different knowables? So for me, for example, my knowables, I mean, there are a lot of different things, but it's like, okay, toddler, plant-based eating, non-toxic lifestyle, collaborating with women, multiple income streams. How do you travel? So I can take those knowables and I can be like, all right, Tuesday's a tip day. I might post, what is it like to travel with a toddler through Europe for 6 weeks? What is it like to travel through Europe plant-based? What is it like to raise a plant-based toddler? You know, there's so many different ways. So you take those knowables, you intersect them, and you're already an expert in that. So I'll post this recording I did. I think there's some good value. It's a little long, but that might help you create content. And then the other big thing is don't create content when you need to post it. Ideally spend, maybe an hour a week. And if you're writing a book, honestly, you can, 50% of your book you can use for content. I mean, or I should say 50% of your content can come from excerpts from your book.
Okay.
Because like I know for me, my book, when I'm 70% through it, what I used is I actually used stuff that I had written about in, it's blogs, but it's really just Facebook post. And then I categorized it for my book. And like, it was already content written. I just had to rewrite the voice of it.
Okay.
So that little YouTube it's all about knowables.
Purposing, like you said, like blog posts for like Instagram or Facebook posts I've done. Or in the past, every Sunday I've done a live workout. And so, you know, after you go live, you have the option to save it. So I save them and then I repurpose those as posts.
Okay.
So I have somebody, like every time I do a live, I save it and I have somebody that I like send it off to. They like clean it up a bit. And then I can like post short little workout clips on my feed or to like IGTV, YouTube, Pinterest, all that stuff.
And don't be afraid to reuse content.
Yes.
So I'll put
like copied and then pasted for a new post.
Like for me, for Facebook, I mean, I put everything on Facebook because I don't care. Where with Instagram, it's all much more visual. So not everything goes on Instagram, but then I'll take anything that's professional because I have different nobles on LinkedIn. Like I don't put all my personal family stuff on LinkedIn. I'll take, you know, it's not like I'm writing different content for different platforms. I'm just, some of it goes on one platform versus another, but it all comes out of the same pot.
And there's actually, to decrease your time actually spent on social media, there's a extension called if this then that, and I'll put it in the chats, but you can have it linked. So if you post to Instagram, it'll post to Pinterest. If you post to Instagram with a certain hashtag, then it'll post to Pinterest, or to like Twitter, or to like, I never actually post to Twitter. I just goes automatically. So there's things like that too, where like you can make it automatic. So you're only posting to one thing, but it's covering like all platforms.
Okay. Yeah, that would be super helpful. That's awesome.
One other thing for organization is I write my content to myself as an email to myself. So I don't write it within the platform. So I don't like go into Facebook and write a post. And that way I email it to myself and I have it in a folder. It's called blog. So wherever I'm going. The other thing, and this is just a personal thing for anyone, if you're using Facebook, I find it's super overwhelming to like accidentally go down the scroll hole. So you can download something called the Facebook Newsfeed Eradicator. I think it's a Chrome extension, and it turns your newsfeed into this. It's a motivational quote, changes every time you refresh it. So I found it saves me like an hour a day because I only now go on to Facebook to either post something, that's it, or to engage like in a group I'm in, but I don't go on anymore to scroll. The only time I allow myself to scroll is like if I'm peeing or, you know, that's pretty much it. So it just, you don't go down the rabbit hole of like going on to post something and all of a sudden an hour later you're like looking at old photos of someone you went to high school with.
Yeah. My God, that happens on the, okay. Very cool. Thank you so much. And Kathie, will you put those,
yeah, I put So Grow in there, and then I'm just looking for the,
we'll be able to pull the comments from this. I don't know. I'm not that good with Zoom.
What I'm doing is I'm taking notes in an email. And then if you guys don't mind, when I post the recording of this do you want me to post a recording in the group or just do it? That'd be helpful. I can post a recording and I'll just put all of the notes from what everyone's asking for. So that way someone watches it later. So basically I've just got these notes from each of you and I'm grabbing, I'm grabbing the links.
Thanks for being so organized.
I don't always know what I'm doing, but organization is one of my nobles.
That's awesome.
I'm like, look at these boards in the background.
That's so good.
Okay. Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
I think it's my turn. Okay. So this is an exciting week because I'm relaunching my website, which I still need to create my call to action freebie tools. And I'm also doing my first couple podcast things, but my big ask this week, or what I'm really working on, is my podcast is going to launch Monday, so a week from today, and I have not reached out to my launch team list, which is, I'm a little behind on that. So I'm going to be reaching out to everyone in the group to be part of my launch team and pick their days. So if anybody has ever done a launch, whether it's podcast or not, and has any recommendations, I would so love to get those, or even like a template would be amazing.
I've been part of a launch team for a podcast.
Amazing. Okay.
And so what she did was she made a Facebook group.
Yes.
And then, everybody had their own, like a week before, everybody had their own like day that they would post about it. And then the morning that it posted, then we all posted about it and tagged her so she could like obviously repost and like
okay.
get that going. And then like we listened to, she gave us early access to like the first 1 or 2 episodes or whatever, so we could like go and write a review, and she screenshot the reviews. And
so she did everyone publish the same day, because Kayla said to like do 10 people a day promoting it for the first 7 days or 10 days, I think it was.
She did like everyone that day, but I feel like it would be better like over a longer period of time.
Totally. If you have any of the templates from that, I would be so grateful. And one thing
the group is still open, and I'll go through and
that'd be amazing. I would say one thing I'm doing, let me share really quickly. So this is for any of you that are doing a podcast. I'm just organizing. And so some of this I've created, but some of it is just stuff I've been grabbing. So for example, let's see, like there's a couple of podcasts I follow. So I went through and I did intros and outros. This is all templates. And I followed like Lori Harder, obviously Kayla, a couple other people. And I created these, oops, that's my personal one. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Podcast template. Like show note templates. I created all these templates. So instead of like having to go and do all the work, everyone already has, I think this is it, podcast template. Like if you are launching a podcast, you can go in and like grab these and then just write your own from it. Okay. So like this is this is not the best illustration because I'm not finding the document I'm looking for. And when you're on Zoom, it's very, very slow. Launch team invite. But if this is helpful, I think I published this link in the podcast info. Okay. I'll stop sharing. Anyways. But I share like 3 different intros, 3 different outros. People have their intros, their outros, their lives, etc. So I just kind of like looked at the template of what people were doing and then made my own from 3 or 4 different ones. Yeah, that's basically it.
So to listen.
Cool. I think that's really just my focus for this week, and then I launched my website today, but I'm excited to share that with everyone.
Yeah.
So Rebecca, I do have a couple of friends that launched podcasts in the last 6 months, and I can get some of their templates that they use, but they have been pretty successful and got like 5-star ratings, like, I don't know, within like the first like 3 weeks. Perfect. So I can pull some of that for you. And
that'd be wonderful. I mean, especially any templates around inviting others. Well, my speaker template I kind of already have, but it's really just inviting for my launch team.
Yeah, it was around the launch.
That would be exactly what I need. That'd be wonderful.
So this is the last silly thing, but can somebody take a screenshot? Because I can only do it since I'm on my phone. It only shows 4 people. But
yes.
I think it's good to post that.
Right,
so, and forewarning, so everybody can smile.
Okay, ready? Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I got warning last time and everyone looked mad.
I know, I realized that afterwards. I'm like, I should have warned people. Then I just think it's a good way to, afterwards I had people ask me like, who's this person? Who's that person? And I'm like, go follow them. So I just think it's a good way to build out your network too.
Totally. And I'll upload this to like a private link. So I think that's everything. Everyone went, right? I didn't forget anyone. Oh, and Kathie, sorry, what was this IFTT thing? I'm just going to
put that if then this.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, like you can do it for anything.
Wonderful. So I'm going to put all of these notes in to the actual YouTube notes, and then I'll also paste it into the call post.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. Have a great week.
Have a good week.
Bye. Bye.